My name is Lisa. I am 28 years old. I live in a small town. I walk to work every day. My work is in a shop. I clean the floor. I put things on the shelf. I help customers when they ask for help. The job is not hard, but I feel tired every evening. I do not have a big family. I live alone. My parents live far away. I talk to them on the phone sometimes. I do not have brothers or sisters. On weekends, I stay home. I cook food. I wash clothes. I listen to music. I also watch movies on my old TV. My life is simple. I do not go out much. I do not go to parties. I do not like loud places. I like quiet things. I like warm tea, soft music, and short walks. I do not have many friends, but I do not feel lonely all the time. I enjoy my small life. One day, a new man came to the shop. He asked, "Where is the coffee?" I showed him the aisle. He smiled and said, "Thank you." He had short brown hair and kind eyes. His voice was soft. The next day he came again. This time he asked for tea. Then he asked for bread. He started coming often. He always smiled. He always looked happy to see me. His name was Jack. He said, "You are always working. Do you like your job?" I said, "It is okay." He laughed and said, "I work at the bus station. It is boring." We both laughed a little. That was the first time we talked more than 2 words. After that, he talked to me every time. Sometimes he bought something. Sometimes he just walked in and asked, "How are you today?" I liked seeing him. I waited for him every day. I checked the door again and again. When he came in, my heart felt light. He started to tell me more. He lived in a small room near the bus stop. He worked 6 days a week. He did not like loud places. He liked music and long walks. I liked all those things too. We had many things the same. One time, he said he liked the rain. I said, "Me too." We both smiled. It was a small thing, but it made me feel close to him. When he talked, I listened. When I talked, he looked at me. He gave me all his attention. I liked that. One evening, he said, "Do you want to go for a walk?" I said, "Yes." We walked around the park. The sky was pink and orange. It was a quiet evening. He talked about his town. I talked about mine. I smiled a lot. I did not want the walk to end. After that, we walked often. Sometimes after work. Sometimes before sunset. We talked and laughed. I felt very happy. I felt safe with him. One day, I made cookies. I took some to the shop. I saw him come in. I gave him a small box. He looked surprised. "For me?" he asked. I said, "Yes." He took one bite and said, "These are very good." I felt shy, but inside I was smiling. Another time, I brought him a small keychain. It had a bus on it. I said, "It made me think of you." He laughed and said, "I like it." He put it in his pocket. That small moment made me feel warm inside. I started to feel more. I started to care. I thought about him when I woke up. I waited for him at work. I thought about him before I slept. I did not tell him, but I think he knew. One day he said, "You are kind. You listen. I like that." I looked at him. My heart beat fast. I wanted to say something, but I stayed quiet. He was kind. He was calm. But he never said he liked me in that way. He never held my hand. He never said sweet words. He was always nice, but never more. I told myself, maybe he is shy. I waited. Days passed. Then weeks. We still walked. We still talked. But he never said more. I looked for signs. I looked for small things. A touch. A longer look. But there was nothing. Still, I hoped. Still, I believed. One Friday, he did not come. I waited all day. I looked at the door many times, but he did not walk in. I felt cold. I felt sad. I thought, maybe he is busy. He did not come the next day, or the next. On Monday, I saw him again. He came with a girl. She was tall and pretty. She had long hair. They were talking and laughing. He saw me. He waved. I waved back, but my hand shook. I stayed behind the counter. I did not walk over. I watched them leave the shop. My chest felt heavy. I felt a pain deep inside. I wanted to cry, but I smiled at the next customer. That night I sat on my bed. I looked at the window. It was dark. I did not eat dinner. I did not watch TV. I just sat and thought. The next day, Jack came alone. He said, "Sorry I did not come last week. I was busy." I said, "It's okay." He looked at me. "That girl is my old friend. She came to see the town." I said, "That's nice." He smiled. Then he bought some tea and left. After that, he came less. We still talked, but only small talk. The walks stopped. The laughs were less. My heart felt heavy, but I tried to hide it. One day I asked him, "Do you still go for walks?" He said, "Yes, with my friend. She is still here." I smiled, but I wanted to cry. I never told him how I felt. I never said, "I like you." I waited. I hoped. But he never saw me that way. He did not lie. He did not hurt me with words. He just stayed silent. And that silence broke my heart. Before I share the rest of my story, I need to know, where are you listening from? Knowing someone hears me, understands me, gives me strength. The days felt longer now. I still went to work. I still cleaned the shop. I still helped the customers. But my heart was not the same. Something inside me was tired. Jack still came sometimes. He still smiled. He still asked, "How are you today?" I smiled too. I said, "I'm fine." But I was not fine. My smile was not real. I tried to act normal. I tried to speak like before, but my words felt small. I could not laugh the same way. I could not look at him too long. It hurt too much. Sometimes he talked about his friend. He said, "She likes this town." Or, "We walked by the lake yesterday." I listened. I said nothing. I only nodded and gave him his tea or bread. At night, I could not sleep well. I looked at the ceiling in the dark. I thought about Jack. I thought about his smile, his voice, his kind eyes. I also thought about the girl. I remembered her long hair. I remembered how happy they looked together. I asked myself again and again, why did he not choose me? I was there. I listened. I cared. I gave him time. I gave him cookies. I gave him small gifts. But still, he did not love me. I started to feel small. Maybe I was not pretty. Maybe I was boring. Maybe I was just someone he liked to talk to. Nothing more. One Sunday, I went to the park. I sat on a bench alone. I looked at the trees. I watched the people walk by. Some were with friends. Some were with family. Some were with someone they loved. I was alone. I felt tears in my eyes, but I wiped them away. I did not want people to see me cry. I told myself, it's okay. It's just one bad day. But deep down, I knew it was more. At work the next day, Jack came in. He looked happy. He said, "My friend is going back to her city. She was here for a long time, but now she has to go home." I did not know how to feel. Was this good news? Was it bad news? I said, "Oh, I see." That was all. I did not ask more. He looked at me and said, "You are quiet today." I said, "Just tired." He said, "Okay. Take care." Then he walked out. After he left, I sat in the back room for a minute. I closed my eyes. I wanted to cry again, but I didn't. The next week, I saw him more. He talked more. He asked if I wanted to walk again. I said, "Maybe another time." I needed space. I wanted to feel strong, I wanted to feel happy again, even without him. But it was not easy. I remembered the first day he came to the shop. I remembered how he smiled and asked for coffee. That smile started something in my heart. But now that same smile made me feel pain. One evening, I walked by the lake alone. The sun was going down. The sky was orange. The air was cool. I saw two people sitting on a bench. They were laughing. The woman held the man's hand. I looked away. I walked faster. I felt a tear fall. It was not just about Jack. It was about me. I felt like I was always waiting for someone to love me, waiting for someone to say, "You are the one." But no one ever did. I started to think more about my life. I worked hard. I was kind. I helped people. I was quiet, but I had dreams too. I wanted to feel special. I wanted to feel loved. Was that too much? One day, my work friend Sarah asked me, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yes." But she looked at me and said, "You are not smiling like before." I said, "I'm just tired." But she said, "You can tell me." So I told her a little. Not everything, just a little. She said, "You are a good person, Lisa. Do not let someone's silence break your heart. If someone cannot see your value, it is not your fault." Her words stayed with me. That night, I wrote in my head, not on paper, just in my mind. I said to myself, "You are enough. You are kind. You are strong. You do not need someone to make you feel loved. You are already whole." I started to take small steps. I went to the park alone and sat in the sun. I bought a small plant and put it on my window. I listened to happy music again. I made soup and shared it with Sarah. Jack still came to the shop. But now, I did not wait for him. I did not look at the door. I did not check the time. When he came, I smiled. I said hello. I gave him his things, but my heart was no longer full of hope. One day he asked, "Do you want to go for a walk again?" I looked at him. I smiled softly and said, "I don't think so." He looked a little sad. He said, "Okay." Then he left. I stood there for a while. I was not sad. I was not broken. I felt calm. I did love him. I gave him my time. I gave him my heart. But he gave me silence. And in that silence, I found my answer. Now I know. Love should not hurt in this way. It should not make you feel small. It should not make you wait in pain. I still remember Jack. I remember our walks. I remember the cookies, the smiles, the soft evenings. But I do not wait anymore. He broke my heart silently, but I am still here. I am still standing, and I am learning to be okay. It was a quiet Sunday morning. The sun came into my room. I opened the window. I looked outside. The trees moved slowly in the wind. The sky was blue. It felt like a good day. I made tea. I sat on my chair near the window. I held the cup in my hands. The tea was warm. I looked at the street. People walked by. Some smiled. Some looked tired. Life went on. I thought about Jack. I still thought about him sometimes, but not like before. My heart did not feel heavy now. It just felt quiet. He still came to the shop sometimes. He still said hello. He still smiled. But he did not ask me to walk with him again, and I was okay with that. One day he came in and said, "You look happy today." I smiled and said, "Thank you." That was all. I did not feel nervous. I did not feel sad. I felt strong. After he left, I looked around the shop. It was the same place. The shelves, the food, the floor. But I was not the same. I had changed. I started to see myself in a new way. I was not just the quiet girl at the shop. I was a woman who could feel, who could care, and who could heal. I began to do small things for myself. I bought a new dress. It was light blue. I wore it one weekend and walked around the town. I felt nice in it. I also started to write things I wanted. I wanted to learn to paint. I wanted to visit the lake in summer. I wanted to take a short trip to a nearby town. Small dreams, but they were mine. One day Sarah said, "You are smiling more these days." I said, "I feel better." She said, "I can see that." She smiled too. It was a nice moment. I did not hate Jack. He did not do something bad to me. He just did not feel the same. And that is life. Sometimes we love someone who cannot love us back. That is not wrong. It just hurts. But pain does not last forever. It changes. It becomes quiet. Then it becomes small. Then one day, it is just a story you carry. One afternoon, I sat in the park. There were children playing. A dog ran after a ball. A woman sat next to me. She looked about my age. She said, "It is a nice day." I said, "Yes, it is." She asked, "Do you live here?" I said, "Yes." We talked for a while. Her name was Jane. She was new in town. She asked where to find good tea. I told her about the small cafe near the bus stop. She said, "Thank you." Then she said, "Maybe we can have tea together one day." I said, "Yes, I would like that." That evening, I thought about Jane. I thought, Maybe I can make a new friend. I felt happy. I also thought about the past. I thought about the evenings with Jack, the walks, the quiet talks. I did not feel pain. I felt thankful. I had loved. I had felt something real. One night, I wrote one last thing in my mind. I said, "Thank you, Jack. You did not love me, but you helped me see my own heart. I waited for your words, but I found my strength instead. Now when I walk to work, I look around more. I see the flowers. I see the sky. I smile at people. Some smile back. Some do not. That is okay. Love is not always loud. Sometimes it is soft. Sometimes it is silent. Sometimes it leaves. And sometimes it stays in a new way, inside you. One day, I walked past the bus station. I saw Jack from far away. He was standing near a bus. He did not see me. I stopped for a second. Then I walked on. I did not feel sad. I did not feel lost. I just felt peace. I went home. I made soup. I listened to music. I sat near the window and watched the rain. I was alone, but not empty. I was still healing, but I was okay. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, comment, and share. More emotional and inspiring stories are coming soon.